Welcome everybody, this is Spoiler Warning. I am Tom Colohue, your host in the wonderful world of wrestling news, and there is quite a bit to dive into today. Just on my wonderful notepad here, we are talking Wrestlemania, we are talking John Cena versus Austin Theory, we are talking CM Punk being unwanted in AEW, we are talking new championship belts, we're talking Bobby Lashley, LA Knight, Alexa Bliss, all 4 members of Judgment Day. We are talking a clear plan to make changes to the Charlotte Flair character. We are talking Stacy Keibler. So there is a lot to get through, but as always with Spoiler Warning, we have a show led by you. So when you hit like, when you ask your questions, when you chat amongst yourselves, this show goes through the stratosphere, and I owe so many of you for it. So we'll be answering your questions as well, and going with this one as long as need be. We did have a deadline on Friday, so I had to rush it slightly, but when it comes to this particular show on Mondays, we can afford to take a deep breath and answer as many questions as we possibly can. Stay tuned, of course, for a few questions coming your way as well as we go through the show, because I want to learn more about who's watching, how long you watch for, and basically, if you're enjoying it. We have our first few questions in. A lot of people saying hi, hello Venom, hello Aled, hello Ken, hello Ross, hello Steve, hello Traffic, says yo, sup Tom, and chat. Thanks as always. Welcome Traffic. Sean says hello Tom, welcome Sean. Spiderboss says hello Tom. Very interesting comments from Ronda Rousey about her rivalry with Liv Morgan. Personally, I think she's entirely right. Liv Morgan's championship run was not very well produced. The creative was not fantastic about it, and Ronda Rousey is right to be a little peeved that that Liv Morgan had very few opportunities because of it. James Stewart says, are you ready? When I ask, is everybody ready? Welcome, James. Ross, I wanted to thank you on air as well for your shout out on Twitter earlier. I do very much appreciate how many shout outs I've had recently. I know quite a few of you have been dipping in and out and basically advertising me to the world a little more, and I really do appreciate that. It's also true of plenty of other different ways of doing it as well. I've appeared in a lot of different publications recently. My name is starting to get out there more and more, and that's really a wonderful thing that's helping me to grow, so thank you. Trekipedia says, hi folks, happy Mania week. Richard Smith says, hello Tom and all. Happy WrestleMania week to all. We are within the week of WrestleMania and we are hype. Sean says, Alexa Bliss news, I'm tuned in. I know mate, you're chatting right now. Alex says, is John Cena on Raw tonight? This is the final Raw before WrestleMania. I find it very likely we see ourselves some John Cena. Alex says, my prediction, Bray Wyatt attacks Lashley at WrestleMania 39. His vignette appears on the pod screen, debuting the White Rabbit. Easter happens in April. Also, possibly we see Bliss attack Belair if she beats Asuka. Mick says, hi Tom, hope you're fine. Doing very well, thank you Mick, welcome to the show. Spiderboss says, I think the best way to change the Charlotte Flair character is have her on non-title feuds. And storylines. I agree with that. That is not what they went for, but there is a change coming. And there's a lot to dive into there. Late Talk says, hey Tom. Hello, Late Talk. Marcel says, hello Tom. How are you? Doing very well. Thank you, Marcel. Welcome to the show. Ed says, no Jay White talk allowed. Funny you should say that, Ed. I have no more news on Jay White. For those who didn't watch or weren't able to, I appeared on our local establishment, or OLE, YouTube yesterday. Myself and Ed both appeared, and Jay White took over. Adam says, hi Tom. Hello Adam. Jordan's here as well saying, hello Tom. Great to be here with yourself and the Spoiler Warning community on WrestleMania week. Very glad to have you, Jordan, and all of the and everyone else watching as well. Bailey says, hello Tom, do we expect any big news from WWE this week regarding future media rights? Not this week, no. The negotiations for future rights from both USA and Fox will be open to whoever buys the company. Vince McMahon is hoping to have the company sold by around SummerSlam time before he needs to be involved in those negotiations, so that the whoever purchases the company can have them in his stead. Adam says, more Cherry Coke? Absolutely. Marcel says, are you ready for Mania week? No, not even slightly. I need to go full nocturnal in order to be prepared, and it's coming. Jonathan said, the time thing messed me up again. We are back to our usual time in the US now, back to 5 p.m. Eastern time for Spoiler Warning. That will last until our clocks change. Our clocks go back, and I believe yours do not, which means we will then have summer and winter hours for Spoiler Warning. Razar says, hi Tom, Ronda recently bashed WWE and their creative for the women. Is there any backstage unhappiness with her comments? A little bit, but nothing major. This is what Ronda Rousey is known for. This is what they knew they were getting when she signed on, so it's not really a surprise. Carlos says, hello Tom, enjoy WrestleMania week. I will try to, Carlos, thank you. Venom says, do you think Cena might win because Fury's not ready, maybe? Fury comes back and beats him at SummerSlam. No, that's not personally how I see that one going. Dracopedia says, Tom, did you hear reports of a new WWE title being introduced exclusively for Raw the night after Mania? No, didn't hear that at all. But I did hear reports that Triple H may have approved a new championship. You've added quite a bit on there. Do you have a source for all of that extra stuff that you've added? Cheers, Christoph. How you doing, mate? Ross says, I think Rollins and Paul will steal the show. Logan Paul certainly has a lot of fans backstage in the WWE. Spider-Boss Ronda was not making reference to Triple H and his crew. She was making reference to creative, though. Venom says, do you think Bianca could retain at Mania? Yes, I think anything could happen at WrestleMania. Ken says, will Austin Theory vs John Cena open WrestleMania? Yes, it will. The WWE formally announced on SmackDown that the first match for night one of WrestleMania, the curtain jerker as it were, even though I'd never like to call anyone involved in a wrestling match a jerker, will be John Cena versus Austin Theory for the United States Championship. There is a reason for this. Spider-Boss says, my respect for Charlotte Flair to mention Sasha Banks on WWE TV last Friday. Charlotte Flair's promo was scripted, so it's not really her doing. Could we see another lawsuit against Vince? Yes, we also could not. Sean says, any news about the news from WrestleVotes about a new title design approved by Triple H? That'll be our second piece of news today. LFUK says, happy WrestleMania week, everyone. I fly out to LA on Thursday, so excited. I hope you have a great time. Ken says, are higher up still high and live like they were before? Yes, that is why she's on the WrestleMania card. Venom says, we're all going to be like zombies when this party is over. Yes, absolutely we are. Alyssa, I'm not going to sit here and say who's going to win between Cody and Solo. That would be very, very strange. That's not what I do here. Richard says, how many titles do you expect to change hands at Mania? More than half, less than all. Leon says, hi Tom, hope you're doing well. Doing very well, thank you, Leon. Welcome to the show. Venom says, do you mean like a replacement for the Universal title? More on that later. 23 Fresh says, is John Moxley misunderstood? No, it seems pretty easy to understand to me. Razar says, I think one way to revamp the character of Charlotte is to have her have a faction. Maybe Charlotte always seems to live on an island of her own lately. Yes, that is true. Could be a faction. I don't necessarily see it. Noob says, hello Tom, how are you doing today? Doing well, thank you, Noob. Adam says, anything new on Vince? No, there is nothing really worth discussing at this point on Vince beyond what we've already discussed. Spider-Boss says, could fans turn on Bianca anytime soon? If they choose to, yes. If they don't choose to, no. Ken Thompson says, will the bloodline split after WrestleMania? Yes, because after WrestleMania is the rest of eternity and is somewhere in that area. Marcel says, took the whole week off, can watch everything live. Looking forward to it. We'll be getting very little sleep. Starts here late 2 a.m. The coffee and Red Bull are ready to stay awake. And Trekipedia says, thank you Tom for answering. I asked you because people keep saying it's a WWE title, but I knew you could clear it up. Well, we are going to be diving into more information very, very shortly. There are rumours, and it's worth pointing out, these are just rumours. Venom says, I've been wondering, is Cena and Theory on first because Cena needs to get his business done quick so he can get back to his busy Hollywood schedule? No, that's not how this works. Alyssa says, what happens to Cody and Roman on SmackDown Go Home show? Well, that will be decided before the SmackDown Go Home show. We are about to get to our first piece of news. It will be on John Cena and Austin Theory. Make sure you hit like before we get started. Because of the time difference, it will take a little longer for this particular show to fill up. So right now we have 51 viewers and 22 likes. Every individual like guarantees more viewership, guarantees more people find out about this show, and of course, so does the chat rate. So while I'm going through this news, do me a favour, let me know where you are watching from. John Cena and Austin Theory will be opening WrestleMania for the 39th installment. This in many ways is a mirror of John Cena opening the 20th installment for the United States Championship. There will be something of a celebration of John Cena theme happening, but this will be a pass the torch moment. I cannot sit here and say I can guarantee John Cena will lose. Nobody can guarantee that. However, John Cena is in a position right now where he wants to give back. He wants to pass the torch, and I can confirm that John Cena specifically requested a match with Austin Theory. He specifically requested this match, and that presents a huge opportunity for Austin Theory in victory or defeat to get himself over. The idea is to mirror the old style of John Cena. It will be a John Cena style match, and to really roll back to the whole concept of WrestleMania 20 in the United States Championship there. We will be seeing plenty of references to that in the build to the match, and a lot of celebration about the fact that this match is at least happening. A lot of people really excited because the match is happening. I don't know how else to explain it. They're just very excited that the match is happening. Going forwards, it's very difficult to say what the future holds for John Cena. Rumours of Cena versus Logan Paul at SummerSlam are not being exaggerated. The WWE are currently pushing for that, but at the moment, nothing has been locked in stone. The main reason John Cena is going to be opening the show is for the pop, for the excitement, and to basically say to viewers who are returning just for the sake of WrestleMania, well, I know that guy. I'll stick around. Spider-Boss says, fun fact, Charlotte had a stable on the 2K22 My Rise mode. Charlotte having a stable could work well. Venom says, I've been wondering, is Cena and Theory on first? I've already read that one, sorry. Adam says, I see Bloodline turning on Roman at WrestleMania to cost him the titles, in my opinion. I don't personally see that, but I do think the breakdown will happen shortly afterwards. Hogan says, assuming FDR stays in AEW, who are the top heel teams for KO and Sammy besides the Usos, after Judgment Day and the Vikings, it looks a little grim. It does look a little grim, that is true, but the Viking Raiders are definitely up there. I would say after Judgment Day, more news on that shortly, I'm expecting we'll see new variations of teams or new call-ups, but I do think a couple of teams may be turning heel in the near future. Thank you very much to the unbeatable new subscriber that we have. Thank you for joining on the YouTube side. You will get notifications every time we go live with spoiler warning, and you'll get notifications for our whole selection of watch parties coming into WrestleMania as well. We will be live for at least 18 hours between SmackDown, Night 1 and Night 2 of WrestleMania, and Raw. As from Boston, Allied is watching from Wales. Spider-Boss is asking, my favourite US champion. I really liked how Bobby Lashley worked with it. To be honest, I enjoyed it. Mick is saying, watching from Gran Canaria, Canary Islands. Ooh, fancy. David Hooper, welcome. He's watching from Norfolk, Virginia. LF says, what do you think the chances are that Randy could show up during or after Roman versus Cody? I think if he's going to show up, it will not be after or before a match, because he's still not cleared and they cannot promise a payoff to that. If he does make an appearance, it will simply be to make an appearance. Marcel is watching from the Netherlands. Venom has lag. Does anyone else have lag? I can see one person at least, Peter, saying he doesn't have lag, but Venom has lag. Can we confirm? And if no one else does, Venom, by all means, refresh. Razar says, I feel like the era of fans turning on talent and the product is long gone in WWE. It seems AEW has inherited those fans. I don't see fans turning on Bianca or Cody anytime soon like the internet wants. I wouldn't go that far. I do think the moment is coming. Ray is watching from London. Ken says, when can we expect Triple H to start pushing more of his re-signings into more prominent positions? After WrestleMania, there is a number of people with a planned refresh that we will be seeing more of. Peter is here saying Callum's cupboard. Callie says, evening Tom, welcome Callie. Trekkipedia says, thank you again Tom, watching from Arizona. Daz says, never got a notification. Have you hit the... Oh, we've already checked with this one, haven't we, Daz? But unfortunately, you don't seem to be getting them. Trekkipedia says, everyone hit the like button, share, stream and subscribe. Let's get Tom some more subs. If you do have Twitter, by all means, spread the word on Twitter as well. I'd very much appreciate it. Ken's watching from Wickham. Venom says, good Cena wants to put people over, but I don't want that to happen every time he returns. It will not be happening every time, but it will be happening. Jordan says, watching from the UK. Really glad I found spoiler warning, learnt a lot, and it's opened my eyes on who to trust and who not to when it comes to wrestling news. Cheers, Tom. Thank you, Jordan. We will, of course, be going deeper and deeper into the fake news breakdowns as we progress as well. We will be developing a lot more of a focus on that over time to basically make sure that you know who you can trust in the wrestling world. Leon says, Worked Wrestling report Mustafa Ali is set for a bigger spotlight, which is what I assume is a push. Worked Wrestling have only been proven wrong so far. Nothing has been proven right that I've seen. Ryan is watching from Melbourne, Australia. Says, would be interesting to have Cena win for Logan versus Paul at SummerSlam. Then Theory goes over Paul after time... Pardon me. After time away and a redesign of the character, perhaps. They are all in on Austin Theory. I don't personally see a redesign happening just yet, though there is very much talk of Logan Paul getting that United States Championship. Bailey says, even though there's a lot to look forward to at WrestleMania, the changes at Raw next Monday could be really, really big. On Thursday, that is when we'll be uploading my personal predictions for the draft incoming. I'll be detailing all of what I expect for the draft. That video will go live on Thursday. Hector says maybe Johnny and Austin Theory could show KO and Sammy the way later in the year. That's a good shout, and I like that as a concept. DIY as well would be a good shout. Spider-Boss says, apart from the Usos who could be opponents for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, we have dived into that. Dad says, is it Cody versus Solo tonight? Dino tomorrow. Cody versus Solo has been announced for Monday Night Raw. I did mention it last Monday during spoiler warning that Cody versus Solo had been pitched and would be happening. Alex says, was the news that came out from Louis Dangoor today about DIY reuniting after Mania true? He did say it was from Give Me Sport. Louis Dangoor is the head wrestling writer of Give Me Sport. So if he says it's from Give Me Sport, it's from him. As regards DIY reuniting after Mania, once again, is eternity. So that's not exactly a scientific report, is it? It's not exactly, here's the exact time. It's more a case of, one day, this may happen. Christoph says, Ronda was basically right in what she said, but at the end of the day, she wanted to elevate Liv, and it worked, so job done after all. They've also trolled each other a bit, and Liv's reply was funny. Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey are friends. They got on really well during the feud. Nobody was particularly happy with how it ended. Ronda Rousey is sticking up for Liv Morgan. That's what's happening here. Richard Smith is watching from Dublin. Traffic says, instead of Ford eventually turning heel on Dawkins, I wouldn't mind the Street Profits turning heel as a team for Dawkins to eventually go face on Ford. I like that as a concept. If it's anything like the Usos turn, for example, it will really reinvigorate them. And I feel even just Montez Ford refusing to do his 5-star frog splash, going up to the top rope, doing that, and then just climbing back down again would be so evil. No like from Traffic, no like from Mick, no like from James Stewart. Callie is watching from Cardiff. We really do cover a broad spectrum here. Richard says no like Billy, no like Justin, no like Trackopedia, no like Ed Fries, no lag. It looks like we're not getting too much lag Venom. You may want to refresh. Eric says, WrestleTalk said Randy Orton was being flown in for Mania. Not like a particular person said Randy was... I have reported a lot about Randy Orton, certainly on Friday. I know you guys had a great time grilling me on that one. And it also happened during the OLE show, busting out yesterday. So that was fun. The Randy Orton video I've sent out to quite a lot of people over the last few days to try and basically say, hey, you know you're reporting all this about Randy Orton? Would you mind just linking my video in there? Would you mind? That'd be great. Because after all, who reported it first? Even if it's after the fact, and I'd love it if you guys were able to help on this, even if it's after the fact, someone can still add my name to the source list of a tweet, of an article, etc. Ray says, did you see the Canadian destroyer that Scott D'Amore? Did it impact Wrestling Sacrifice? I did not. Unfortunately, I don't get to watch a lot of Impact. I've lost my pen. I don't get to watch a lot of Impact, especially with, unfortunately, the bad luck that they've had recently. That also gets no lag. Venom says, do we know how long each night of Mania will be? I guess 4 hours per night. 6 when you factor in the pre-show. Alyssa says, is Roman Reigns going to surpass a 1,000-day reign? No. Hector says, watching from Ohio. Adam says, do you see Kenny Omega going to WWE? Not right this moment, no. I do think Tony Khan convinces him to sign a new deal. A lot of this depends on CM Punk, though, and we will be talking about CM Punk in just a couple of minutes. Spider-Boss says, a pop on SmackDown after Ray smacked Dominic on SmackDown was really cool. The pop on SmackDown was indeed amazing. Sean said, did you see in an interview that Becky said she had a few years left in her? She does, and they'll be very good years. Ken does not have lag. James is watching from Faversham in Kent. Oh, must be sunny at the moment. Rob says, as always, sunny Florida at a very comfortable 82 degrees this afternoon. I've been to Florida. It's difficult. There's a lot of heat. Venom says, really want Cena to get the IC title and do open challenges with it. I can see Cena versus Gunther happening. I can't see Cena winning. Ken says he can trust Wrestling Days YouTuber. I don't believe Wrestling Days reports any news, more just covering the news that's out there. What I do say is that Wrestling Days, whenever I check out their channel, does very good work. Venom says, I personally think if Cena wins, it could just bury him. I don't think it'll be a burial per se. It's John Cena after all. You don't beat Superman. But still, it wouldn't be ideal for his growth, in my opinion. Ross says, Jay White for the Raw after Mania will be amazing if that's possible. Venom says, do you think Bobby is going to be at Mania? More on that later. Jonathan says, Cena is Hollywood now. He has no time to defend weekly on TV. Peter says, any news on Randy Orton's return? Does suppose you have a video on this? So fun fact, I got a little boost of viewership from Friday talking about the Randy Orton video, and because I got that boost of viewership over the next couple of days, we got a few more viewers as well, because the more people watch a video on YouTube, the more YouTube says, oh, people are enjoying that, let's put it out there. So it actually kind of worked out. Spider-Boss says, I hope the Usos don't turn babyface again, they are cool as heels. Hector says, Tom, you're saying I can't report that Survivor Series is going to happen after WrestleMania, there goes my big scoop. No, Hector, you can, because how many wrestling journalists report exactly the same stuff like that? They're always saying, Louis Dangle was infamous for being the guy who reported Drew McIntyre is about to get a big push, when Drew McIntyre was already the WWE champion. Daniel says, Mox is on the sessions with Renee tomorrow to talk about, amongst other things, the CM Punk Instagram postgate. How long before he bleeds in the interview? He's already bleeding, mate. You know this. Andrew Quinn says, hello, Tom. Hope you're well, mate. My favourite show on YouTube. Also just watching WrestleMania 31 DVD on my PS5. My birthday in 3 days. Then Mania weekend at my mate's. So a very special week. Glad you're enjoying it, Andrew. Hopefully you'll be able to pop me on your phone for the watch party. Just put me on there. Just put me on there. Why not? Just put me on there. But regardless, obviously I'm joking, I hope you have a great time, mate. Ray says, any news on when Robert Roode will return? I don't necessarily believe that he will. Daz is watching from Chester in North Wales. Is Chester in North Wales? You would know. You live there. Venom says, I'm not watching the pre-show. I want to save my energy for when Mania starts. So you're not going to be at the watch party? Mate, I'm hurt. Sean says, I saw someone post on Twitter saying they want Bianca to have a reign longer than Roman. That ain't happening. Megan, welcome. Says, what do you think will be the bigger bill after Mania? The one for Cody's Pyro or the one for replacing all the mics broken by Sammy and Kevin's pop? I think the ring may end up broken, which would be very telling. Eric says, Tom, what's your favourite WWE turn? Mine was Dom turning on Ray. It's still Shawn Michaels. Absolutely still Shawn Michaels. Hi, Megan. Spiderbell says, I think WWE could change a little bit Bianca's character. Bianca now seems just a generic babyface made by WWE. There will be a change to her character incoming. Ken says, when will Bron Breakker get called up to the main roster? Soon. Leon says, who do you think should dethrone Austin Theory if he retains the US title at WrestleMania? You're asking me to make a prediction based on an assumption. I don't do that. It's not something I do. CM Punk, as I've been reporting, is making enemies backstage in AEW and has no real intention of returning to AEW. Thankfully, this is good news, because AEW also don't seem very interested in bringing him back, with one exception. Tony Khan wants to bring CM Punk back. Tony Khan is actively negotiating with CM Punk for the release of CM Punk from his contract. CM Punk wants a significant payoff. Tony Khan is not willing to pay it and is instead trying to convince CM Punk to return and to apologise to the Elite. The news that was leaked about, all CM Punk needs to do is apologise, was intentionally leaked as a way to try and convince CM Punk to do so. That is not going to happen. CM Punk has burned that bridge, and honestly, if CM Punk did return, he is more likely to alienate many more people and lose the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega from the Federation, if that is what the plan is. CM Punk at this point is not particularly wanted by the backstage locker room, and you will have heard this on Friday on Spoiler Warning, and you also have heard this today from Dave Meltzer, from Wade Keller, from so many different sources. Sean Ross Sapp. So many people over the last few days have been reporting on CM Punk. I reported that one weeks ago. Recapped it on Friday. I always like it when that happens. Razar says it seems like Bobby Lashley is going to be in the Battle Royal on SmackDown. Is he not going to be on WrestleMania? More on that shortly. Christoph says Becky was in Ireland to promote WrestleMania. Said in an interview she wanted to do double duty without even mentioning Lita. In my opinion, she got a bit overzealous there. Not mentioning Lita kind of disturbs me a bit. There is no need to be concerned about Lita being mentioned or not being mentioned. If Becky Lynch wants to talk about doing double duty, Becky Lynch can talk about doing double duty. She can't speak for Lita, so she didn't. Nope says, I believe that Asuka is pretty much going to be a heel at WrestleMania 39. Asuka is already a heel. I reported that exclusively on Twitter, and we have seen her attacking Bianca Belair from behind in the days since. Spider-Boss says, Sean Ross Sapp and Meltzer reported news we first saw on Spoiler Warning. Joey says, hi Tom, is there any truth to the reports that a new WWE Championship title design was approved by Triple H? That's still coming. Give me at most 6 minutes. Spider-Boss says, my favourite turn is Eddie Guerrero turning on Ray in 2005. Aled says, do you think Cody beats Solo tonight? That would be a spoiler. Venom says, no, I will be, but if I do the pre-show as well, I might just fall asleep. Getcha. Justin says, Cena on Raw tonight? Probably. That says, anything announced for Seth or Edge tonight? Do you know, Tom? They would have already announced it publicly, and it would not be up to me to ask about it. Hector says, I know it's been kind of quiet, but is there any update whatsoever on Gable Steveson? Seems like at this point we may never see him in WWE. Gable Steveson has a very loose contract that allows him to pretty much work his own schedule, and by and large he's decided, nah. And we're still there. Joey says, do you think there'll be a lot of heat on TK if he brings Punk back? Yes, absolutely. Andrew says, of course, mate, I love the watch-along parties. I'm going to be pumped for the Brood reunion this weekend, Edge and Gangrel. It's been a long time. Spider-Boss says, since CM Punk isn't wanted on AEW and WWE, I think CM Punk is done with wrestling. Should have been done with wrestling previously, in my opinion. Sean says, Asuka also attacked Mia Yim after teaming with her at a live event. So we're suggesting heel. Christoph says, CM Punk apologising to the Elite. Tony is very optimistic. Yes, he is. Ryan says, any word on possible stipulations to add even more emotional intensity to the KO and Sami versus Usos? No, because it wouldn't add any more emotional intensity. If anything, it would distract from the fact that the match is happening. Venom, I'm not doing NXT. Razar says, just want to give well wishes to all the UK and international fans staying up late for WrestleMania week. New Japan taught me how hard that is this year. It hits you hard, doesn't it? Hits you hard. Wikipedia says, is WWE's Aaliyah okay? We haven't seen her for a while. I just hope she's all right. She has been cleared. They just have absolutely nothing for her at the moment. Ken says, my favourite turn was Becky turning on Charlotte. That was a wonderful one. Megan says, would you prefer next week's Raw to have more debuts, returns, or more NXT call-ups? I think eventually WWE are going to have to start using what they have. They have so much talent in NXT that's been completely blocked for 6-8 months now, just prevented from coming up when they need to come up. We've got to a point now where it's either go up or get out. Bron Breakker can't do anything else in NXT. Spider-Boss says, Tony Khan wanting to bring back CM Punk, that'd be Civil War on AEW. Yeah, and he knows it. He knows it. So the rumour is, via WrestleVotes, which is also via Give Me Sport, that Triple H has confirmed a new championship belt that will debut as a replacement for the WWE title at some point. At some point. One day. Eventually. But apparently it's ready, it's made, it's raring to go. There have been non-stop rumours about this. I've said for a while. I did report previously that Triple H not the biggest fan of the Universal Championship, but he does respect the need for two separate titles. I would not be too surprised if that changed for the sake of Cody Rhodes, but at this point they have been making up this entire dual champion reign since the moment it started, and it just hasn't really helped the company because Roman Reigns is never there. Cody Rhodes has pledged to be there week in, week out. If need be, he will be doing both Raw and SmackDown. I've been asking about the championship, and what I've been told is that it's under lock and key, which could also mean it's not confirmed yet. Wikipedia says, Savage turning on Hogan back in the day was my favourite heel turn. They did it so well, and I love the slow burn turn from years ago. Mick says, please tell me Raw tonight or next week is commercial free. Haven't heard anything about that. Christoph says, anything on Carmella? PWInsider reported she could now be replaced by Sonya as Chelsea's partner. Her situation is unclear. Her situation remains unclear. Sean says, Matt Cardona says he's happy that he didn't sign with AEW because he would have been on Dark every week. To my knowledge, Matt Cardona is very happy where he is and isn't very interested in going anywhere else. Andrew Quinn says it will be a nice surprise if Brothers of Destruction appear at Mania this weekend, not to wrestle, just come out and give out tombstones and then leave. That would be a burial of whoever they are tombstoning with no actual benefit to the tombstoners. Tombstoners, why did they never call them that? Joey says, do you think the new title design will be a throwback to the Winged Eagle belt? No, Triple H never liked that. Venom says, bit surprised, I thought it'd be the Universal title to go. It might still be. It might be both. Razar says, does WWE have any interest in bringing back Mandy Rose? Yes, they won't, but some people do. Most people who have the actual power don't. Bobby Lashley will be featuring in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on this week's SmackDown. LA Knight will also be featured in this match. Bobby Lashley and LA Knight are both making a point of stating that they want to be featuring at WrestleMania. They are making it very public on Twitter, and it is very possible that they will be able to actually make that happen. That said, Triple H likes a smaller card. I don't necessarily see this match happening. If it does, it will be set up with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which neither of them would be winning. It's just a bit late in the day to be setting up a WrestleMania match. Bray Wyatt will not be featuring at WrestleMania. There will be no Bray Wyatt match. There may be an appearance from Uncle Howdy and some sort of vignette, but Bray Wyatt will not be appearing at WrestleMania. Mick says, anything new on Stone Cold since your last video? Not a word. To my knowledge, as I reported on the last video, Stone Cold Steve Austin will not be at WrestleMania. Spider-Boss says, Carmella was recently on the Wheel of Fortune last week. That may be why she didn't appear. Hector says, with Stacy Keibler being this year's female Hall of Fame inductee, I think it's safe to say we'll go another year without China, sadly. Let's talk about that. We knew this one was coming. PWInsider, I believe it was, with the initial report. But I'm very glad to see it regardless. Stacy Keibler is someone I grew up watching, both in WCW and WWE. She did certainly make an impact and knew how to get attention on the product, and certainly I believe she did add a lot overall, even though she obviously was not a wrestler. She was a good character actor. I don't think she was given a great character. And as you guys know, I'm still waiting for the moment when China is inducted. Triple H is pushing for it. I don't believe Vince McMahon, now that he's back in play, will allow it to happen. Stacy Keibler is being inducted, will likely be inducted by Tori Wilson, and will be making a speech which I feel really reflects how the WWE has moved on. Bailey says, will there be any pre-show matches this weekend? If there are, it will be the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team matches. We currently have 82 viewers, but only the 36 likes. If you're able to hit like, please do remember to do so. And please do remember as well to subscribe if you haven't already. As an aside, if you've made it half an hour in, well done you guys. If you are still here, jump in, say hi, let me know you're still watching. Spider-Boss says, of all the hype on Bray after his return last year, having a second run in WWE has been disappointing. I completely agree. He's had one match so far. It's not great. Venom says, imagine if we get Bron Breakker versus Bobby at Mania. Do you think this could happen, Tom? No. Ken says, will WWE be on TNT Sports when BT Sports changes to TNT Sports? Yes. The contract is very much not changing. WWE is still going to be on whatever BT Sports becomes. Joey said that they're going to use the QR codes for Bray's return. They could, but that's basically starting at the beginning again when they've already started at the beginning. Like, can we just move on? Can we just do something new, you know? Eric says, oh, WWE interested in bringing back Britt Baker. Britt Baker has never wrestled on WWE under the name Britt Baker, to my knowledge. I know there was a brief appearance in a squash match, but when it comes to bringing back, the only reason they would want to bring her back at the moment, given how stacked their roster is to take someone away from AEW. To be fair, that's kind of where they went for Cody. Andrew Quinn says, I actually hope Jay White appears at Mania this weekend. Be a way to get AJ Styles on the card, at least. Spider-Boss says, Vince falling off his chair while Stacy Keibler was dancing was funny and cool. She was cool. Sean says, could Alexa make an appearance at WrestleMania since she said she will be there? That is our next piece of news. Christoph says, Stacy did indeed get my attention on the product back in the day. Trust me. I'm not one to sexualize, as you guys know, but her character was a sexualization. So I'll certainly forgive it. Mr. Stumble says, who will induct ex-con Dom into the Hall of Fame? Will it be Nails? Well, we're a long time away. It'd probably be someone after his second stint in juvie. In jail. Ray says, when China was alive, all she wanted is to be in the Hall of Fame singles. I don't necessarily recall that myself. Adam is still watching, and is it like? Thank you, Adam. Billy says, excited for this weekend. I'll be attending every show. Thank you, Billy. Jordan says, that's a shame about Bray not being a WrestleMania, but health comes first. Wishing Wyndham Rotunda all the best. James says, Adam Cole returns on Dynamite this week. If booked to, yes. Mick says, is a Hall of Fame live on YouTube? I'm not entirely sure. I know it'll be live on BT Sport. Dominic says, hi Tom, I just came on. Is Triple H bringing a new world championship? Thank you. That is the rumour, Dominic. Yes. Trekker PD says, why hasn't Miss Elizabeth been put into the Hall of Fame? I'd love to see her in, and she's well deserving. Because of the way the situation ended with her in WWE. More on that can be found. I'm not going to go into it. Spider-Boss says, is WWE interested in bringing back Saraya? Not really. Sean says, Stacey is also the first woman to be RKO'd by Randy Orton, and not the last. Hogan says, I'm guessing the Foley rumblings about inducting somebody were either A, false, or B, not about Stacey. Yes. Joey says, is there a lot of interest from Triple H to bring Kairi Sane back? I've gone into detail on this one a number of times. Yes, Triple H wants to bring Kairi Sane back. Yes, he has given someone that role, and it is up to them whether or not they succeed. Justin says, Raw after Mania surprises. Orton, Riddle, Styles, AOP. They are some possibilities. Yes. Christoph says, if Bobby doesn't win the Battle Royal in order to build a future storyline, then my second pick is Solo. Bobby Lashley is likely to win at WrestleMania. LA Knight is the ideal pick with that in mind. Venom says, be nice to see the phenomenal one AJ Styles at Mania, but I guess it's not happening. I did report way back in January that AJ Styles was not going to feature at WrestleMania. Trekkipedia says, I was in the audience when Vince fell off his chair when Stacey danced for him. That place was going nuts. Steve says, any wrestling shows that you're looking forward to this week that aren't WWE related? Well, as you know, Steve, I do have a full-time job. I don't have time to watch all of the wrestling. It can be a shame at times, but right now it is WWE centric. Ken says, Chyna deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for what she did for the women's division. I wholeheartedly agree. Mr. Stumble says, is Dave Meltzer a liar and Jericho a liar and a stooge, or is this Punk being grumpy? I think people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. However, I don't necessarily think he's 100% wrong. Venom would love to go to Mania one day. Traffic says, good point, she's not the last to get RKO'd. Who is the last woman? Is it Nia? Yes, it is. Adam says, do you see Keith Lee returning to WWE? Maybe one day, if he wants to and if they want him to. Alex says, Jay White is amazing. Source, Tom Colohue. Have you not seen him? Who here has not seen Jay White wrestle? Eric says, did you speak on the Ronda drama yet? There is no real Ronda drama. I've already discussed the fact that she was standing up for Liv Morgan. Rizal says, how many people in the Hall of Fame this year? I believe they've announced 4. Yes, Sean. As I've already reported, it is William Regal. Steve says, any truth to your knowledge of the rumours that Gangrel could feature as a part of Edge's entrance at WrestleMania this weekend? So, PWInsider usually have their news based on the fact that they have people literally watching the Performance Centre. Chances are Gangrel appeared at the Performance Centre if that's what they're reporting. Ross says, I'll give the start of the pre-show just for a rest, Tom, as I'll be watching Stand and Deliver. Fair enough. Venom is imagining War Games at Mania. Spider-Boss says, who was your favourite between Trish and Lita? I grew up as a Trish guy. I was a Lita guy. I just like the flipping. Alex says, I actually have never seen a Jay White match, so no. Ross says, I'll be on board for the show, though. Good to hear. Kieran says, Beth Phoenix was the last to be RKO'd. Fair enough. Leon says, the last one to get RKO'd was Beth Phoenix. Cool. Bailey says, another reason Elizabeth will never go into Hall of Fame is the circumstances of her untimely death. Once again, I'm not going to go into details on that one. James says, never seen Jay White wrestle. Wasn't aware of him before I started watching you, Tom. Also, sadly, still not looked him up. You may not need to. Venom doesn't know who Jay White is. Ken says, I saw Jay White wrestle on Impact and AEW. It's alright, James. It's alright. Christoph says, I wouldn't call Meltzer a liar, more a guesser that everybody follows. Keem says, best match to watch of Jay White. I really enjoyed his work with Kota Ibushi at Wrestle Kingdom. I think it was last year where they did the no, it was one featuring Tetsuya Naito. I have so many good options. There is some great work from the G1. G1 2021 is worth every second of your time. The match against Kota Ibushi is my personal favourite, though he does great work with Okada as well. Venom, my predictions for Mania will be going live tomorrow. So, as regards the Q&A that I was going to do on Wednesday, I do have to apologise. We are shifting the schedule slightly. I will be doing the Q&A for Wednesday on Tuesday instead. We will be doing a live mailbag version of Nick and Tom's Intercontinental Adventure. There has been a change in our schedules. It will be going live at midnight UK time. That is 7 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night here on these channels. It will be a Tuesday show instead. Also on Tuesday, I will be going live at 8:30 UK time. That is 3:30 Eastern time in the US on the SCW Wrestling channel with Steve, who's in the chat right now. So please do check that out as well. Billy says, I thought Alexa Bliss was the last one to get RKO'd. Apparently not. Spider-Boss is interested to see Jay White. Christoph says, I was a lead to guide 2. Richard says, can't wait for Jay White versus Cody versus AJ versus Finn. Ken says, are you a Matt Cardona fan? I mean, he's all right. I've never really... I didn't watch when he was big, so... Venom, I was literally describing that as I said it. Mr. Stumble says, what's more likely, CM Punk in the Hall of Fame or Ezekiel being Elias, CM Punk in the Hall of Fame? I mean, it's never going to happen, but it's more likely than whatever the hell you're thinking. Andrew Quinn says, when For the Love of Wrestling comes back in Liverpool, I really want to meet Sting. He's one of my top 3 icon legends. That potentially is a show that we could do a meetup at. If you guys are UK based, would you be interested in some sort of meetup at some sort of wrestling event like that? Asking that one. Alexa Bliss is due to return after WrestleMania. She will be in LA for WrestleMania and may feature in some way on the card, but not in a wrestling capacity. I did report previously, as I reported 2 weeks ago, the video is live that you can check out there. Alexa Bliss was waiting for a phone call from the WWE about her WrestleMania plans. The phone call had not happened at that time and seemed unlikely to happen. The original plan for Alexa Bliss was to do something alongside Bray Wyatt and potentially alongside Uncle Howdy, but this has not happened. Instead, with Bray Wyatt being written off at this point, or at least ignored at this point, there are no serious plans for Alexa Bliss to wrestle at WWE's WrestleMania show. If there is a change, it will be very last minute. Trekipedia says, I hope so. China does get a solo Hall of Fame induction. She was awesome. I agree. It's on Tuesday, Venom. Tuesday. Jordan says, as regards to meetup, sounds good. Venom says, I'd be up for that. Callie says, yeah, definitely. Backward says, I'd be interested in that, but I'm in Canada. Fair enough. Fair enough, unfortunately for that. Spider-Boss says, do you think we could see Cora Jade in the main roster after WrestleMania? Yes, because WrestleMania after WrestleMania is eternity. And it's not going to happen before. Keem suggests Bobby versus Cena versus Theory. Not going to happen. No worries, Steve. I want people to watch it as well. If you are in the Discord, we will be posting a link to the show with Steve when I go live there. And if you're not in the Discord, let's see about changing that, shall we? I'm just going to pop the Discord open. Grab an invite. Copy the link. And paste it right there in both the YouTube and on the Twitch. We have made some changes to the Discord. We have put in what I am referring to as the Good Faith Agreement. The Good Faith Agreement essentially is the community guidelines to make sure everyone's acting in a way that isn't offensive to other people, etc., etc. As long as you are making an argument in good faith, we are all very happy to have you, but we debate there, we discuss there, and we also promote there. You can promote your own work. I've been doing a bit of mentoring and coaching with people. I don't know if you're still here. I've been talking to you, a bit of coaching there, and there's more than that. Mark as well has been involved recently with a bit of mentoring and a bit of coaching. So if you're interested in that, by all means join the Discord. And of course, if you're just interested in checking out a platform where we can talk a hell of a lot of wrestling. Also, Discord will be used heavily when I start more stuff for the gaming channel. We'll be doing a soft launch later this year, but there'll be plenty more when it comes to next year as well that you can dive into. Next year we'll be officially going large with the gaming channel, but I'm going to start producing content beforehand and just saving it up ready. Ken says, were you a Hulk Hogan or Ultimate Warrior guy? Neither. Steve says, thoughts on the Gangrel's possible involvement in the Edge Balor match? I heard about it somewhere. I don't think it's likely he'll be involved in the match. He may be trying to be an equalizer for Damian Priest, but I don't see him being particularly involved. Callie says, I'm gutted they're leaving Bray out of Mania. It's out of their hands. That says, Tom, I'm going to see some wrestling 15th next month. £5 I paid for my ticket. Me too, but not on the 15th. Watching football on the 15th. Ken believes Victoria should be in the Hall of Fame. Razar says, if I was Alexa Bliss, I wouldn't want my career tied to someone unpredictable like Bray Wyatt. If he decides to take breaks, it also affects her. Very true, very true. Mr. Stumble says, Tom, will you do a video of your finisher, the reverse jackhammer, for your 100k subscriber special? If I can get someone who's willing to take the move, then yes, absolutely I would. It's called the Rapture, by the way, Mr. Stumble. It's called the Rapture. Venom says, when are you thinking of doing the meetup, Tom? When there is a show in a place worth checking out. So For the Love of Wrestling is something that's been mentioned there. That could be a show that we do a meetup. We basically attend the show, but we also pick a pub and just do something afterwards. So let me know if that's something people are interested in. It will probably be on a weekend because, as I say, I do have a full-time day job. But I do think that's something worth considering. I have been talking to people recently. I've been asked a few times, when WWE comes to the UK for a Raw or a SmackDown, do you want to go? And I was like, should I make spoiler warning t-shirts? We could do a meetup and just all wear spoiler warning t-shirts. And then I felt really arrogant and really narcissistic. So I left that one to go. Spider-Boss says, I saw the video of fans stalking Rhea at the airport. Fans need to respect wrestlers' privacy. I wholeheartedly agree. Joey says, Worked Wrestling reported the creative has been discussing a DIY reunion after Mania. Have you heard anything on this? Well, yes. And in fact, I've spoken about it quite a lot. But what I will say is that nothing Worked Wrestling has reported so far has been proven true. I'm not entirely sure why people started following them. But also, as regards the phrase after WrestleMania, that means any time after WrestleMania. So any time between WrestleMania and when they are no longer with us. It's a very open-ended report. You can always spot who's essentially guessing by the fact that they leave their reports so massively open. Blue, I'm not entirely sure what the question you're related to is. The WWE moving on could relate to a lot of people. No worries, Dracopedia. Joey says, what games will you be streaming? I'm not planning to stream. So I'm not planning to live stream any particular games. I may come on for a few specials, but the gaming side will be mostly videos and pre-recorded. Alice says, yeah, we are going to make some changes after Mania with the advice you gave us. Thanks again for that. No worries, Aled. Please do continue to check in. I certainly will as well. If you want to talk more about the plans and about the ideas, I'm always happy to be a sounding board and share my experience. Christoph says, at least Alexa will be backstage, unlike last year when Vince didn't even invite her to make a travel. Did not forget to make money on her name with an Alexa playground on the fan access. Yo, Wiggly, how you doing? Sean says, what would your entrance theme be? Master, Passion, Greed by Nightwish. I know, Wiggly, I know. Gomar says hello. Hello, Gomar. That says, who has the best top rope finisher? Probably Montez Ford right now. Joey says, the London meetup would have been cool for Money in the Bank. I cannot afford that ticket. I cannot afford that travel. I would rather be working it, watching it with you guys, than actually travel down to it, because that's a lot out of my bank account. I ain't rich. I am not rich. I have a modest income, mostly because you guys have been so generous, and that's pretty much it. I have a full-time day job that pays the bills, that keeps me in my home. I am not loaded in any way, shape or form. I can't afford to spend £200-300 travelling down to London and then the ticket for the actual show and then a hotel as well. I cannot afford it, unfortunately. While I'm on that subject, there are many different ways you can support the channel. Chatting, always a good one. Asking questions is a brilliant thing. Even just commenting, even if it's a bit spammy, I ain't going to be too upset unless you're really being a bit of a, about it. Liking, sharing. Telling people that you're watching Spoiler Warning. Telling people about the news here. I've seen so many of you recently on Twitter really helping me to grow by pointing out Spoiler Warning, by pointing out the news, and it's a fantastic thing. There are also financial ways that you can support. You can support by using Super Chat function. You can support using channel memberships. We have a $1 per month channel membership, which means it's only $12 a year, and that basically ensures an income for me regardless of anything else. And of course there is also a $5 option. You get the same content for either, but that's just if you can afford a bit more and you'd like to give a bit more, you're of course welcome to do that. If you're on the Twitch side, you can also subscribe there. It is a $5 per month subscription there. It's just a feed. I have no control over that one, whereas on the YouTube I get a little bit more control. So if you are able to, please do consider adding a donation if you would like to as well. Owen Swain, welcome, says, whoa, oh, WrestleMania. Alyssa says, do you agree with me? Roman Reigns has got stale. No. Hogan says, I have to imagine that London for the week of Money in the Bank would have a bunch of things going on. Yes, it would. Wiggly says, I noticed in Cardiff the fans crowding outside the hotel. One dude actually went into the hotel and followed them, boasting about the CATC fan page. What a moron. Yes, absolutely true. That is very much the case and absolutely accurate. I remember when NXT UK came for a takeover in Blackpool, and people literally sat in the hotel lobby waiting and then demanding autographs. It was awkward. Thank you, Aled, for becoming a channel supporter. Thank you very kindly for that. It does go directly back into the growth of the channel through a little bit of advertising, a little bit of growth there, and of course paying the extra time that I use for the growth of it. So thank you, Aled. I really do appreciate that. Cool, Dad. Sounds good. Spiderboss says, does WWE have plans for Chad Gable since Alpha Academy is breaking up slowly? A lot of people after WrestleMania will be getting a rebrand. Razar says, random question, a train's a big way to travel in the UK, like can you take a train from one city to another? Yes. Venom says, it's a good idea for meetup and t-shirts. How much would you want for one? I don't really know what I'm doing with this. I actually have a merch shop set up as part of the streaming service that I use. I have a merch store set up. I need to talk to Si and actually finalise the designs. He's been putting some forwards for me. Essentially, it'd be the spoiler warning logo. I'd be looking at about $5, £5, something like that. A small donation to essentially get a t-shirt, but then obviously they take their cut and the postage and packaging as well, because I tell you what, I do not have the time to be doing the postage and packaging myself. Christoph says, can't wait to see you doing your finish on William Regal to Blackpool Legends. Steve says, what is your favourite WrestleMania theme? Call Me Predictable, but mine is My Way by Limp Bizkit for WrestleMania X7. As I indeed did sing a little earlier, it is the classic WrestleMania one. Alex says, WrestleZania is going to be amazing. Wiggly's theme tune will be sung by Ozone. Jordan says, thanks Tom, just joined your Discord. Thank you Jordan, welcome. Ken says, will Raw be on at 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. in the UK? 1 a.m, our clocks have now changed. Spiderboss says, if you could interview anyone from WWE, who would it be? It would be Triple H, I've already done so. Richard says, with Bron Breakker and Cameron Grimes rumoured to be debuting soon, do you expect to see more to debut from NXT? I don't even necessarily expect them to debut from NXT. Wiggly, I haven't watched the England games. Just didn't watch them. Venom says, I think people on Raw seem to forget how many times WWE has rinsed Piper Niven versus Bianca. So 4 since Piper debuted. Callie, I mean, that's an option. I can certainly consider it. Blue says, Tom, favourite theme music? Asuka's, I think, is the one that jumps to mind. Though, It's My Time, the Triple H one, certainly sits there. Ray says, will WrestleMania 39 be the greatest WrestleMania of all time? How would I possibly be able to answer that? Andrew says, Kingdom theme song with the atmosphere is going to be absolutely insane. Kingdom are not featuring at WrestleMania. Aled dropping tables in the chat, as you should. Ross like the Randy Savage elbow drop. Dad says, when is the next member stream, Tom, or video? I have been talking about doing member streams, members only, so that you guys can ask me more in-depth questions. But I don't know at what point that's a good idea, because like I have quite a few members now, certainly, but I don't want to have a members stream, members Q&A, and have no one there. So I don't really know how best to do it. I will probably put a video relatively soon after WrestleMania. There'll be quite a lot of news that I want to dive into, or at least some updates and some behind-the-scenes stuff as well. Eric says, what's your solution to the wrestler airport problem? Wrestling fans getting a life? I would like Triple H to openly say, we are banning any wrestler from being allowed to sign anything at an airport. That will then empower the wrestlers to say, oh, I can't. My hands are tied. I can't. Venom says, imagine Cody beats Roman. It's announced it was only for the WWE title. They wouldn't do that. Mike says, a lot of Jay White talk. Did you report any new news that I missed? Nope. Only the news I've already reported, that he was negotiating with both WWE and AEW, and that I personally think WWE is where he will land. I reported that a while back. It's actually reported in a short from, I think, January or February. Let me just check, because it's always popping up. It is always popping up in the drop. Oh, it was actually March. It was 2nd of March. 2nd of March I reported it. So a little while back. Kieran says, are the shows you're watching on stream SmackDown both nights of Mania, then Raw after Mania? Yes, it is, Kieran. That is exactly the plan. Sean says the last time the Women's Rumble winner won the belt was Bianca at WrestleMania 37. Last time the Men's Royal Rumble winner won the belt was WrestleMania 36. So what you're saying is, not long ago. Christoph says, I wonder if WWE will make WrestleZania t-shirts. They will. Callie says, I noticed a lot of YouTube channels have them and they're doing well. We're definitely looking to a buy me a coffee link. Certainly that's an idea, Callie, and I appreciate that. I will consider it. Hector says, Tom, did you see a recent WWE house show surpass 9,000 tickets sold? Pretty impressive even for the WWE. And with the fact that they are planning to go more global and wider reaching, I certainly think that will increase over time. Keem says, you're looking forward to Backlash. They have not announced any matches for it yet, so I can't be hyped for it. Joey says, do you know if any feuds have been discussed for Bray when he returns after Mania? Nope. None at all. Because he has some creative control, so he has to write one. Spiderboss says, I remember fans criticising Mercedes for saying she won't sign anything to fans on airports and hotels. Yep, and she was absolutely right. Steve says, how the hell is John Cena a 5-2 underdog? He's in his mid-40s and part-time, and Theory has yet to reach his prime. There's a reason betting lines are the way they are. Pay close attention. I have mentioned, I think Austin Theory will be picking up the win. Aled says, I have a 6-hour train journey tomorrow. I'm going to sleep. Good night, Aled. Have yourself a great time tomorrow, wherever it is you may be going. We have 2 more pieces of news that I'm going to get into at this point. Please remember, if you haven't already, hit the like button. We have 44 likes and 75 viewers, so there is a little discrepancy there. And also, be sure to ask any questions you have, because after this particular 2 pieces of news, there will not be any further questions being answered. So, by all means, get your questions in. Once we run out, we're out. Charlotte Flair had a promo scripted on this week's SmackDown just gone, which really leaned into the idea that maybe she's not a face anymore. Now, Charlotte Flair has not been a face for very long, but competing against Rhea Ripley, it certainly suggests that Judgment Day may end WrestleMania as faces. This may not work out long term because of Dominic Mysterio, but the WWE, particularly Triple H, is very aware of the fact that Rhea Ripley has a big groundswell of support. Now, Charlotte Flair will be putting on a great match. There is no question of that. I don't necessarily believe the fans are going to go against her, but as we're heading into WrestleMania, which is a smarky crowd, and Raw after Mania, which is an even smarkier crowd, Triple H is well aware that Charlotte Flair may get booed regardless and is leaning into it slightly. There is a discussion ongoing about Charlotte Flair moving to Raw after the draft to compete with Bianca Belair in a non-title feud, which Bianca Belair would be winning. The final piece of news is as regards Judgment Day. This is quite a small piece of news, but it's going to be quite impactful. Judgment Day have not had the best rub of the green, but they've been heavily featured since they debuted at last year's WrestleMania with Edge and Damian Priest. Once Edge left, Judgment Day started losing a lot more matches. This may be about to change. There is a huge groundswell of support for Judgment Day in WWE Creative, and there is a strong belief that a clean sweep for Judgment Day at WrestleMania is incoming. After that, Judgment Day would become one of the top factions in the WWE and usher in the year of the Judgment Day. Next year, the season of 2023 to 2024, WrestleMania to WrestleMania, may be the year of Judgment Day. Spiderboss says, I think Cody Rhodes can be like a young Cena for young fans. He's genuinely a good guy. No, Cody Rhodes is not John Cena. There is a massive difference between them. Comparisons between them are completely off base. Wiggly says, last time for questions before WrestleMania. Nope, we will be doing a live mailbag version of Nick and Tom's Intercontinental Adventure tomorrow, 12 o'clock midnight UK time, 7 o'clock Eastern time in the US, that you may want to check out. Also, I'll be live on SCW, so Steve's wrestling channel, or Steve Chats Wrestling, we are going to be doing predictions there as well. And we will, of course, be doing spoiler warning on Friday also. On Thursday, my video will be going live with predictions for the incoming draft. Spider-Boss says, do you think WWE could change the ending of Roman versus Cody? Yeah, they can change any ending of anything at any time. Wiggly says, have you seen they're selling Snoop Dogg WWE belts? Yep, doesn't surprise me. Spider-Boss says, WWE kind of want Bianca to beat Charlotte only to say Bianca defeated the 4 horsewomen like when Roman defeated Ruthless Aggression Icons. Yeah, that's correct. Yes. It's not a bad thing though, is it? Will says, it's crazy to me how fans think that CM Punk is going to change his ways. He's over 40, not 20. You called it when he signed to AEW, flight risk, and I stand by that even now, flight risk. Venom is hoping Theory wins clean. Razar says, if there's anything we can learn from Bray Wyatt, it's that wrestlers should not have creative control. We haven't only just learned this, we were fully aware of that, particularly from the days of Hogan. Venom is glad it's no longer WrestleMania Backlash, and also says they've only just turned Charlotte face and they're trying too hard to get her cheered. Christoph says that wrestlers shouldn't even have to justify themselves. Fans just need to understand they are human beings who sometimes need to chill and be left alone. I agree. Noob says Bianca Belair in a non-title feud. That's interesting. Venom says Judgment Day wouldn't make sense as faces. Ken said, wasn't Judgment Day a pay-per-view? It was, yes. JJ says, I know the Horsewomen were supposed to step back, but it feels like Triple H doesn't really care for Becky's booking. Do you see her getting back in the main title scene this year and actually getting TV time? She gets TV time every single show. Every single show. All of them. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Joey, you need a link for the Discord again? Sure. I'm going to post that right there. Dad says, what happens if Judgment Day are ringside in Ray versus Dominic? Then the exact same thing that's already been booked to happen. Thomas says, hi, Tom. Sorry I'm late. Can honestly say I'm really looking forward to all the matches at Mania, even Omos versus Brock, just to see what happens. Joey says, I hope they don't break up the Brawling Brutes. They will. JJ says, do you know which superstar is getting a big entrance? I know Cody and Roman for sure. I've actually already covered quite a lot of this in a video about that. Drew McIntyre, for example, is going to get something quite fun. A lot getting pushed on for that one. Steve Englund says, have you got any news on potential sports betting with WWE in the States? Heard from a source on K100. What's K100? Oh, keeping it 100. No comment. Venom says, do you think Unforgiven comes back this year? No. There's no reason for it to. Wiggly, you know I can't answer that one. You know I can't. And Spider-Boss says, after seeing CM Punk on AEW, I think he is the problem. He walked out from WWE and the All Out Brawl. Punk better not return to wrestling. Thomas says, is there any news on Dominic having a special entrance? A little bit, yes. A little bit. Discussions are ongoing. Joey, there was talk going on with Code Orange. I don't think it was going to get anywhere. And that is spoiler warning. If you've not yet done so, please remember to subscribe. Please remember to like as well. We are continuing to grow. We are now on 2,234 subscribers. We're getting closer and closer to the day when I can go full time. This is going to be a very big week for us. These WrestleMania shows are going to be huge. Please do stay tuned to Tom Colohue content. And remember, if you've not already, actually, while I've got you, don't go anywhere. Please remember, this is going to sound silly, that I also have a TikTok. So please check that out if you haven't already. We're actually growing pretty fast on TikTok, and all I'm doing is posting very similar videos to the Daily Wrestling Rumours. So if you're not a Shorts watcher, but you're a TikTok user, check it out. In the meantime, as usual, I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. I'll see you all very soon.